You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here on our Facebook pages, Twitter, YouTube. I'm Al Graham, and joining me is my joint host. I got it pointed the right way. Tamara Cartwright. What are you doing, Tamara?
I'm digging through this bag of goodies I got sent in the mail yesterday.
Oh, goodies.
Because I didn't make it out to Mom Cup, right? So the goodies came to me. So.
Oh, right.
So we have goodies. We have goodies still from prior that we're still waiting for people to guess on, which are some psilocybin and some stuff.
They have to add them to another contest.
So that's what we're going to do.
I got one on the works. I got to finish up some final details, and then I'll let everybody know.
Right? So what I figured today, since I've got a couple extra edibles here.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We'll give them away. So anybody who is actually watching today, just put cookies as a comment, and whoever comments cookies in the comments will get a cookie. I have.
Oh. You'll give them away eventually.
Right? So if you're watching today.
What flavor are they? What flavor are they?
This is a chocolate chip one, and I tried them last night, and they're super yummy. They're nice and soft. And it was edible 3 entry at the Cub. And this one here is an apple cinnamon oatmeal cookie.
Apple cinnamon. Oh yeah.
And all the ingredients are on here. It's butter, eggs, milk, cinnamon, vanilla extract, baking soda, 300 milligrams of decarb cannabis, extracted approximately 60 milligrams of THC. So that's this one. So again, if you're watching, cookies is all you gotta do. Put cookies in the comments.
Let's just see what happens. It's tough,
right? Yeah. So we're gonna try. We're gonna try giving those away. So other than that, I didn't make it out there because of my face, but my face is clearing up a bit, and I'm working.
That's good.
Well, I am gonna start planning for the Kootenai Cannabis Cup 2023.
Are you?
Figure for everybody else's.
Yeah. Post today.
Yeah, well, it's been 2 years because we couldn't do it because of COVID, right?
Right.
So everybody else is getting them on.
Because you bring people together to do your cup and stuff, right?
Right. So we had 75 people, about 125 the first year, 75 the second year, because I had to have it in my backyard, right? So we couldn't, but I've got offers of land for camping and places that we can get this done. So I'm planning. I'm plotting. So
okay, fingers crossed.
Yeah, plotting.
Yeah,
plotting and planning. Yeah.
I've
got a year. At least I'm not doing it 3 months beforehand in February. Figuring, I'm going to do this. I can usually do.
Hey, I saw earlier. I saw earlier talking that you did some harvesting today. Was that today?
No.
He's wondering what's the pepper. The pepper.
Oh.
The plant that you grew in your kitchen, the pepper you grew in your. I should have said the plant you grew in your kitchen before I said the pepper.
Yeah, the only thing I've grown all summer was a little pepper in my kitchen. Because I'm working, right? My garden, there's no garden this year. My plant because my basement flooded, but I still have my lights. So, but I got some nice seeds from my little cup too. So I got some seeds I can germinate.
Well, there you go.
I could get a clone. I know people that have got them. It's just I don't have the time right now with all my extracurricular activities, right?
You gotta look after them,
right?
You just can't.
And I don't want to neglect them. And I think I want to try water. After listening to our last guest that we had on the show from BMA Hydroponics, Ross and Debbie, I'm thinking I don't want to do dirt anymore. I'm thinking I want to get myself a little 4 stand, something that I can do 4 plants in. Like they've got those tubes and like the 4-plant
Right.
tube or something. I think I want to do water. I think I'm tired
Oh,
of growing in dirt.
well, dirt does, as I say, there's dirt and dirt, right? It's dusty, can make a
Well,
mess.
and the bugs too. Like to be fair,
Yeah.
like you have to worry about
Well,
bugs, you have to worry about thrips, you have to worry about fucking
not,
spider mites.
well, you're gonna get you can get spider mites on your aquaponic plants as well, right?
Well, you got to keep your temperatures below 72. So as long as you can
Yeah.
control your temperature in your room, you shouldn't get them at all. I can't. I've never had them.
Yeah,
To
just
be
don't let
honest,
them
I don't.
in. Don't let them in so that you don't have to
Right.
battle.
Right. So I've never had to battle them. And to be honest, because I keep my room usually at 70, but I was using LED lights the last time. So there's no
Right.
heat coming off them. But as soon as I turned that 400 watt on and got some heat going.
Yeah, yeah. I always found the high temperatures they really explode
Oh,
whenever I've had to. Yeah.
incredibly. Yeah. They're nasty little buggers. You can bake your dirt too. Like we used to bake our dirt trying to get rid of them.
Yeah. No,
That would,
mine came from looking for clones that I shouldn't
I
have
know,
got.
right?
So, yeah.
And once you
That's
get
right.
them,
Yeah.
it's difficult. So what happened with the plant that got broken with the wind? Is it survived? Did the grafting help? What happened with your plant?
With the what?
With your plant, the one that got broken with the wind. Did the graft
I
help?
got broken in the wind. Yes. No. I did some surgery on them. I reinforced the joint where it broke. I supported it up top. Tied things off, and it didn't miss a beat. I'll tell you, like you can break branches off, and as long as the skin is still attached, like the outer layer is still attached there,
They will
you can
graft
just get
back
it back in
together. Yeah.
place. They'll grow a big knuckle in there, right? They'll
Yeah.
reinforce themselves.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you, they're hardy. They're hardy, man. They're hardy.
Right? Yeah. That's awesome, Al. That's awesome. I've had that happen to me
No,
before and had to do
it's
that
going
too.
good.
Saran wrap and an elastic band and whatever else to get it all kind of glubbed together and hung it with
Yeah.
fishing wire.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I cut things off. I've had to put splints on, and it grows big enough. It wants to go around the splint, so I cut it all
Yeah.
off. And,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like a human. That's right. So, all right, what do you say we bring our guest into the program?
Sounds good to me.
All right, tonight we have a guest who had started out as a patient, and by the sounds of it, wanted to spread the story and help so many people. But I'm gonna let our guest tell her story. So we'd like to welcome Irene Donohue to the Pace Radio Show. And Irene's screen has gone black there she is.
No, she's there.
Hi, Irene.
I
How
see
you
her.
doing?
Hello. I'm good. How are you folks today?
Good. The as I we were talking about different things there leading into the show, and when you sent me some information on your I'm going to call it a journey, because we all start someplace and it leads us to a point in our lives now, and some of us start as cannabis users when we're younger, some of us start when we're older because of medicinal purposes. In your information to me, you mentioned that you have been a recreational consumer, but something tells me it's hasn't been. You just didn't start yesterday.
No, that's right. That's right. So I have been a recreational consumer for most of my life. It's funny at parties and everything else. People offer you a drink, and I'm not a drinker. I'm an herb girl. Always have been. Growing up, it was back in the days of dime bags and nickel bags and centimia.
Yeah, exactly. Nickel bags that cost you $5.
$5.
$5.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call BS on that, because when I moved to Calgary in 1988, we tried to get a bag of weed, and it was $40 for a branch picked off of a plant, thrown into a bag, zipped up. You could get cocaine, you could get crack, but you couldn't find marijuana in Calgary anywhere. And that was 1988, 89. It was horrible.
Yeah,
Dimes?
That's I'm talking 70s.
Yeah, no, I'm talking 80s.
Yeah.
70s as well.
Yeah.
So what happened? How come you could get good bags in the 70s and the 80s? You just
I think
look
you
at
maybe knew the wrong people,
Obviously.
yeah, you must
right?
have. Yes.
Right?
Now
Because yeah, I
Well, we
remember
actually
that
found the right people after that. We've had a grower that was in Kelowna. My ex-husband was busted in Calgary in 1989 or 90 for like conspiracy for the purpose of trafficking. It was a great big huge bust from Calgary to Red Deer to Kelowna to Lethbridge. It was bad because we found the good stuff finally.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And back then punishment would have been bad.
like
he
that
got
nickel
yeah,
bag.
yeah.
That nickel bag and dime bag dust, that would be like a quarter and a half. And so basically, you were buying half a bag for $10 or
Yeah,
Yep.
no, prices were through the roof when I
back
started
then,
smoking
yeah,
weed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
40 and 80. It was all the way. Like, and it was like, to get an ounce for under $300 back then, you were like, yeah, that was
Yeah.
great,
See, I
right?
was so
Yeah.
young, like I know in the 70s and stuff, I mean, I was a teenager, right? I was quite young. So it was, I mean, I couldn't afford anything more than a nickel bag or a dime bag. So I didn't
Yeah.
know, I didn't know how much, the big amounts there was out there and stuff. It was just the nickel bags and dime bags that I could afford. And then every so often, a little piece of hash or some honey oil,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
you
Those
know?
were the those were the days.
Yeah. Though, you know what? I don't know. I kind of like the cannabis out there better today. I mean, there's just,
Oh, the
it's
variety. Oh,
the variety and the terpenes and like what we know of
yes.
it today, right? We can
The
really appreciate
education,
it
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can
The
appreciate
options.
it because of,
Well, because
yes,
we know what it's made up of now. Now we know what the trichlomes are. Now we know what we're looking for when we're growing it. Now we know
Yeah.
how to grow it better because people have taught
Yeah.
us the tricks of not just throwing it in some dirt and throwing it outside, right? Like there's been so much growth because of medical patients, because medical people back in the late 90s, early 2000s fought for their right to get this plant for medical purposes. So
that's right.
because of the medical patients and because of them crossbreeding seeds and making the hybrids to help with their afflictions. So we have people that have passed away that we really have to thank because of their, afflictions that they fought and they put these genetics together, like Al and Robin Barassa. They're both gone. They passed away several years ago, but they had some of the best genetics in Canada because she was battling cancer.
That's right.
So, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so we have these people to thank, but it's
Uh,
because of the medical that we've got what we've got today, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I always say now too that because everybody's looking for the science of it, right? Everybody's looking for the science of it. It's because of the medical patients that we now have the science.
Yeah. There's more science. There's more information there. More people have spoken up. And what I was getting to earlier, I mentioned about where you can start at something that eventually leads to us to the point that we're at now. Like you were talking about getting those nickel bags and dime bags, and then as time progressed, you became a patient.
Yes. So what
And,
it's it's really interesting because the way that I became a patient was I became a patient before I became a patient.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
sounds odd, but quite a few years ago, I think it was in '09 or I think it was '09, somewhere around there, I had shoulder surgery. And I'm not a big girl. I'm 5'2" and 115 pounds type of thing. So I'm not very big. And after the surgery, they give you this plethora of pharmaceuticals. One's for inflammation, one's for pain, one's to help you sleep, one's for this, one's for that, one's for the other thing, right? So,
yeah.
anyways, I got
One's
all
to
these.
combat that one.
That's right. So I started blacking out. And 3 days later, I was blacking out left, right, and center. So my buddy took me to the back to the doctor, and they gave me another prescription. so I went to the pharmacist and I says, what's going on here? Like, there's one prescription after another. And he looked at the prescriptions that they gave me. He goes, oh my God. He says, they gave you enough medication here to put down a 240-pound man. And look
Oh,
at you, right? So, and then he says, and now this medication that they give you is just to settle your stomach for the other side effects. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I went home, flushed everything down the toilet because it was just stupid, right? flushed everything down the toilet. And what I did for recovery was inflammation, I used ice. Pain and sleep, I used cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's how I recovered. And I didn't do that consciously. I just know that the ice stopped the inflammation and the cannabis stopped the pain, and it helped me sleep.
Yeah.
You know, so still considered it recreational use. Went about with my, you know, recreational use. And
You weren't thinking medical at the time.
Not at all.
It was
Not
helping.
at all. Yeah, it was, but you know, it was just helping. So that's what I was doing. So then quite a few years later, I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis at an early age, in my early 30s. Okay. And at that time, I was referred to a specialist, went to the specialist, and it was like, okay, Irene, we've got this new drug out. It's a miracle drug. It's going to help your arthritis. There's no side effects. It's been fast forwarded. It's been FDA approved, blah, 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 right? And I looked at the doctor, I said, well, is it an NSAID? Is it an anti-inflammatory? She goes, yeah. And I says, yeah, no thanks. But what's the name of it? Celebrex.
Oh.
I would be on Celebrex for over 25 years if I kept taking it now. And we all know where that would lead.
That's right.
You know,
I take Celebrex.
Yeah, I refused.
See, and I did the exact opposite of what you did. I did everything with the cannabis, but I've got arthritis, but I've got inflammatory rheumatoid arthritis, right? So it's an autoimmune and it's different. So I have to take methotrexate to suppress the immune system. So then I don't have to take any pain pills at all because I'm not in pain at all. So it's half a dozen of one or whatever, but I don't take Celebrex. I've got Celebrex as a, you know, painkiller if I need it, but I don't, because of the methotrexate, I don't have to take anything for pain because I'm not in pain. Right.
Yeah.
But I tried everything else, but
yeah. And methotrexate, they, you know, it's funny because with cannabis therapy. Oh, she's muted.
Oh, no, she doesn't show muted, but we don't hear her. We don't hear you, Tamara.
There.
Oh.
What's going on?
There, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
There, now we can hear
you. My phone was ringing.
That's why.
Yeah, I had a phone call coming in. Sorry. Yeah, somebody's calling. Sorry about that. But yeah, so unfortunately, I ended up tapping because I had tried everything, like caps, everything, topicals, everything, like everything under the sun, and yeah, it just wasn't.
Wow, that's too bad because I have quite a few clients that are rheumatoid and cannabis works quite well for them.
You know what? And I know lots of people that it does, but for me,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's your biochemistry, right? We're all
exactly. It's just and that's unfortunate because like for my colitis, that's how I got my first medical, but I was diagnosed with that in '86.
Yeah.
For inflammation, no problems. It was great. But when it came to the autoimmune,
no. So you were diagnosed with the osteoporosis, Irene?
Osteoarthritis at first.
Okay, all right.
So I do have osteoporosis too. Yay.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Right.
But yeah, so I was diagnosed at a very young age and very active. I mean, I played fastball. I played competitive volleyball, golf, run, gym. You know, just super busy and stuff, but
right, yeah, and athletic by the sounds of it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, you're 5'3" and you're playing basketball.
Basketball I hated. Volleyball I was good at, but basketball I got creamed. But so, you know, and throughout the years I had done the gambit of anti-inflammatories, you know, that kind of stuff with it. When I turned, I think it was late 40s, early 50s, it got really bad. The arthritis had spread. Now, you know, it's in my spine and my hips, and it was interfering in my daily activities. So I had tried all alternatives because I'm not really a farmer girl, not really into a lot of, there is a place for allopathic medicine definitely there is a place for it, but it's not the end all be all. Just as
Right.
cannabis isn't the end all be all,
Correct. Exactly.
you know. But so I had tried everything. Physio, acupuncture, prolo, naturopathic therapy, and it got to the point where I was referred to the pain clinic. So I went into the pain clinic and went to the doctor, and they says, you know what, you can't cure this, but you're going to have to manage this for the rest of your life. So the way to do that is, I want to put a fentanyl patch on your back. I went, what? This was in 2014. We have a crisis going on out there, and there is a place for fentanyl. So I'm not bashing fentanyl.
Right.
There is a place for it, but there is
Right.
a place for it. It's not a blanket drug
And
for everything.
And there's got to be assistance for those that they put on it, if anything.
Absolutely. I believe that
anything becomes of it.
Yeah, and I believe that you need, with any ailment, with anything, you need a care team, not just a not just a medical doctor, not just a naturopath. You need a full team. That's my whole philosophy on it. So anyways, when this doctor says, you need a fentanyl patch, I'm like, not a freaking chance in hell. There's no way I'm not even going there. I mean, I wouldn't take Celebrex. Why would I take fentanyl? You know? Mm. So anyways, I had a girlfriend that she was doing the protocol for MS. And she had told me, Irene, like, why don't you try RSO? I'm a patient. You can get it legal, you can become a legal patient and you qualify, blah, blah, blah. So I did. And that was just after MAR, and it was during MMPR for your personal grows. So I became a patient then. And, it was funny because I started with RSO. That's what I started treating myself with, just at night. And, one of my girlfriends, about 3 weeks or a month into it, she says, boy, Irene, that cannabis is really helping your back and stuff. My back was so bad that if I bent over, I could not lift my knee. If I lifted my legs, I could not bend my back over. So,
and if others are noticing it, by seeing you and saying something, then obviously,
and they noticed, and they noticed it before I did, because I was just taking this RSO at night, and I had smoked and everything, right? But taking a rice grain or 2 rice grains of RSO at night, well, that's a whole different ball game, right? Like I was, 9 o'clock at night, I was out. So, but anyways, about 3 weeks, a month into it, my girlfriend says, "Oh, Irene, that cannabis there, that's really helping you." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I can still feel some pain in that." She goes, "Yeah, but you just bent over and picked that up, and there's no way in 3 weeks ago you would have done that." Yeah. I kind of thought, you know what? You're right. There's something to this. And at that time, I didn't know CBD, THC, CBG. I didn't know all about the cannabinoids and the plant structure itself. I just knew that it was cannabis, and it was making me feel better. But I got curious. Right?
Oh, why is this making a difference in my life here? Like, holy smokes. When I was smoking this when I was a teenager, it was just all fun and games. But now it seems to be making a change in my quality of life.
That's right. And what's the difference? I mean, I've been smoking it, and I hadn't been getting this kind of relief or anything, right? So what is it about this plant? So anyways, I started doing a lot of research, just whatever I could find. I got onto the internet and found out about Raphael McCullum, and found out about Rick Simpson, and found out about, the Knox the Knox doctors, sisters down in the States, and just really started following on the medicinal side of it. Got really, really interested in it. And because it was helping me, people started seeing, and they started asking me, well, you probably know Tamara, right? It helps you. People are going to come to you, and they're going to start asking questions, right? So you start helping them. How can you not?
Yeah, exactly.
How can you not help them?
Right.
How can you not? And how do you stay quiet? You can't.
Exactly. I wanted to shout from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, people, from a plant.
We were taking medical packages Yeah, we were
There's an
taking medical
option.
pamphlets and stuff that Michelle Rainey would gather up all this information for medical doctors, and she'd mail them out across Canada when she was alive. And we were taking them into the doctor's offices in the clinics, trying to inform the doctors, trying to get them to read the information, trying to bring them on board, trying to get them to sign more patients, because that was the biggest obstacle we had back, 2000 on, like from the beginning of the MMAR program, was getting doctors to sign the paperwork.
Yes.
And because that's been and it's still a very difficult, since legalization, it's actually harder, because now they just say, you can get it legally, why should I sign?
Exactly.
And mine did that to me. My doctor did that to me. Why I'm not I'm not a licensed patient anymore. I'm just whatever. I don't need, because my doctor would refuse to sign after legalization. That's a big obstacle, right? So
Yeah.
that's something that was really was needed. So Michelle Rainey was one of the very first activists out there that came up with this program, and would mail out these packages to all the activists across the country so we could take them into the doctor's offices and try and educate them. In fact, Al received the Michelle Rainey Award at the first TY Expo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny now, because even in the so cannabis has been
Michelle. Yeah.
Yes. It's been medically approved since 2001. Why is it not in the medical curriculum?
Yeah.
It always has been. They just don't teach
20 years.
Well, what I have been told is that there is so much for them to learn that if they put that into the curriculum, they have to take something else out, and there's no room for it.
See, they have the option to. They actually have a cannabis treatment program that because they have to take so many accredited courses a year to keep their licensing.
Yes.
And Dr. Eckenberg, who's also passed away, was one of our signing doctors, used to teach this course in Saskatchewan to the doctors there as an accredited course on top of, because they have to take extra courses, so many per year, to keep their licensing. So it is offered, but the doctors have to be interested enough to want to take the course.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I've seen that. Like, I know near me here in Belleville, Ontario, at Loyalist College, they have a course down there when as far as the cannabis end of things.
Yes.
But it's it's getting there. At least it's being offered more now. But it has to get into the doctors in order for them, and their association to support it as well.
They need the research. They need the research on the dosing. But if they had specific dosing that they can sit down and say, okay, we know this dose is going to do this for this, they could do that, right? But the research has to be done on the dosing. And it's the same with pharmameds. Like, they have to have the research done on that pill to make sure that pill and that dose is going to help with this affliction, right? So we need the research. We need the research. We need the funding so that Health Canada is forced to start doing research. Now, with legalization, we thought that possibly might start happening, and I believe it is in a couple universities in Montreal, but we just need more research. We need more funding for this, right?
And you know what, that is going to, because it's going to come, I believe it's going to become more now, because people are demanding it. So, people are demanding it, and they're demanding, for the knowledge. And because we are in the industry, especially cannabis educators, if you're really passionate about it, we are more educated than the physicians on medical cannabis. Not all of them. There are those that are just as interested as we are. But on the whole, I think it will come. And what's happening now across the country is Michener, for instance, I took their cannabis educator course. So I'm a certified educator through Michener, and I've taken certification through Green Flower down in the States.
Can I interrupt you there on your certifications and stuff? So we can go to a commercial break, and then we can come back and we can learn all about your certifications?
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. We'll do that. All right. Off to break we go. When we return, Tamara and I will continue our discussion with our guest, Irene Donohue. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here, and we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own cannabis is easier than you think. Whether you're growing for recreational or medical purposes, BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. From the standard 4-plant recreational systems to the latest cutting-edge hydroponic equipment, BMA can customize your package and do it at discount prices. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and ask us for a free estimate. Or call 613-967-9888 and we will give you an estimate over the phone.
The only way to go.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to savethevcbc@gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We are live here on paceradio.net.
Cookie.
live on our network pages. There we go. We got the cookie lady here.
Okay, so remember, if you're watching and you just put cookies in the comments, you'll get a cookie.
There you go.
1 each. So there's 2 cookies to give away. I need 2 comments of 2 cookies. Okay.
Would an emoji of a cookie monster work?
Whatever. These are leftovers from the Mum Cup in Vancouver, Hope, BC, Vancouver, BC last weekend. And yeah, so I'm actually eating some. They're super good.
Oh, good.
Good. All right. During the first break, Irene, we're talking about the early days and your medical condition and using cannabis, and that it's hard sometimes to be quiet about what you've learned and experienced, and we want to learn more of how this plant is helping us. And you've gone and done that. I understand you've got some certificates or certifications in cannabis therapy.
Yep. So I have a certificate as a cannabis educator from Michener Institute of Learning in Ontario. And I've also taken some courses from Green Flower down in, I believe they're based out of California, Max Simon, and really good outfit there. So so I started taking those, and it was funny. My mom actually was kind of a bit of a catalyst in me also learning. So after I became a patient, my mom was quite interested, and she was in 2015 diagnosed with dementia.
Yes.
Alzheimer's. So we
Yeah.
started her on therapy. She wanted to try it. So we started her, and we had heard on how coconut oil and manuka honey were really good for the brain. So I'm an RSO girl. I mixed it RSO with coconut oil and manuka honey, and we gave her a tablespoon every night. And so what that really helped her with was the anxiety at first, you know, with the anxiety of the memory going and such.
Yeah.
And it really helped with her sleep. So as the disease progressed, my mom also became an authorized patient. And I became her designated grower.
Good.
So
Good.
yes, so I grew, and I still grow my mom's medicine. She's still with us.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so she's in late stage Alzheimer's, and it's just within the last year that she's had to have added medication. So some pharmaceuticals. She's a complex dementia care now.
Yeah. Just lost a brother-in-law to dementia.
You know what? It's the longest goodbye. It's just a horrible, horrible disease.
Yeah. Yeah. The celebration of life is on Saturday, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. But it's been a loss for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the longest goodbye. But my mom was really enthusiastic, and
Good.
we had a family meeting when she was diagnosed, on what she wanted, and as the disease progressed, what was to happen, and so on and so forth. The one thing she was adamant about was, I want to stay on cannabis therapy. It works. It's helping me. And she was at that time 75 years old.
Really? Eh?
Yeah. So we have. And because I was her designated grower, and because of my A-type personality, I learned how to dose, and I learned how to make tinctures. I learned how to make pills. I learned how to make butter. I learned how to make gummies. All of it, right? And how to dose, and what to dose, type of thing. So when my mom was placed in care, 2019. It was still, legalization just happened in 2018.
Correct.
And in 2019, we had her placed, and I had phoned to make sure that they would administer her cannabis.
And yeah, because that was, I'm sure, big issue still.
Yeah, and it still is. I still advocate for patients, Al.
Yeah.
So so what happened was when we got there, they said, "Oh yes, absolutely, your mom. Yes, absolutely, we'll administer her medication." And they pulled out the list of the licensed producers. Which producer is it? I said, "Oh, it's none of them. It's us. I grow it for her." "Oh no, we can't administer that to her."
Oh.
I says, "Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't administer it to her? It's a license." And they says, "Well, no, because it has to come through our pharmacy. And from the licensed producer, it has to come."
Yeah. They
have a lot number. We can't do it with your mom because there's no DIN number. I says, "No, of course there's no DIN number."
Yeah.
And they says, "Well, it has to come." They were adamant, and I said, "No. I know the law here. I know the regulations. You're wrong." So then I got to our provincial health body, and I went to their policymakers, and I says, "What's going on here? This is her legal right. And if you guys want to talk litigation, we'll talk litigation."
Oh.
So anyways, I worked with the provincial health body, Alberta Health Services, and showed them where in the regulations. Because what they had, and they still have it in their policy, it's still not fixed. So what they have in their policy is that they can administer from any licensed producer. And in the regulations, it says, from any licensed producer with a medical sales, comma, or personal production or designated production. Well, where the comma is, Alberta Health Services put the period in. They put a period in. And and they says, "Well, this isn't incorrect." I says, "You're absolutely right. Your policy is not incorrect. It's incomplete."
Correct. Yes, exactly.
You're omitting something, and I know my mother's legal rights, and you're going to do this. So anyways, we went back and forth. Anyways, after 2 months of my sister driving 50 kilometers a day to administer my mother's medication to her twice a day, and that was, I think, 2 months of that in February in the middle of winter storms. They finally came back and said, you know, yes, you are right, Irene, we will start administering her. But
Good.
So what I did for them to make it easier was I converted it, I dosed it into gel caps, lab tested to make sure that the dosing was correct, blister packed it, and labeled it from her doctor. And then without the DIN number, what she had was her MCR number. I says, that's like a DIN number. That'll track it right to seed.
Yeah,
So
that's
then
your license number. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And that license makes her a licensed producer.
Exactly. You know? And then they says, well, you're not on this list. You should be on this list. I says, oh, darling, if I was on that list, there'd be a Privacy Act issue. You know, so
that we're still waiting for a court, ruling on.
That's right. And you've been waiting since what, 2014, 2016?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
2014.
8 years. So you're right.
It was the summer that I moved here, and I moved here in October of 2014.
Yeah.
And it was the summer. Yep.
Yes, because that's when Allard went to court, was 2014, and then the ruling was in 2016.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were fighting for our gardens to be back. And they had made the ruling that we had to tear our gardens down and send it back to them in kitty fucking litter.
Right.
Yeah. That's when that's when the MMPR came in.
Yes,
right.
That's right. And that's when I became a registered patient, was when it was the MMPR.
Yeah, we were MMAR before, right?
That's right.
And if you held an MMAR and didn't move, even now, if you haven't moved or wanted to update your prescription or anything, your MMAR is still valid, right?
Yes, it is.
The injunction. But see, I moved from Coronation to here, so
too.
my MMAR became then invalid, and I had to either apply for an MMPR or stop growing. And I went, fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you gonna do?
That's right. Yeah, I have friends that still have their MMAR.
Yep. I do too. Yeah, I do too.
They never switched over. They never moved. They're still in their same spot. And they refuse.
I made a deal with my wife. She wanted to move, and I said, "Well, if I move, I lose my license, because at that time we couldn't. You know, you lost your license if it
was MMPR, and that was it.
Because that's all there was the MMPR. Yep. So she agreed that, okay, we'll let you keep growing your cannabis until you can get your license. So finally, after it came through and they changed the program and patients could sign up again, I said to her, okay, my time to do the deal, the bargain. Let's move. And we moved, and I had I reapplied and all that stuff. But
and it's always been a hassle. Like it's still
it's a lot less paperwork now than what there was back in those early days.
Oh yeah, and I've been doing it for so long that it's easy. Like I do it for my clients and stuff. So I actually ended up having to start a business because
let's get into that. Exactly.
Okay.
You had to start a business.
Well, I had to, because there were people coming to me for help, and we retired, fixed income, right? And helping all these people was costing me a lot of money. I just couldn't afford it.
You're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, going to the post office or printing off these forms, creating literature to give to them. Yeah.
Finding a doctor.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Hours. Yeah. Navigating the system. Yeah. And navigating the system is still
a shit
tough.
Show.
It is. Yeah, it shouldn't be. In our province here in Alberta, for instance, the doctors have to sign as a cannabis authorizing doctor with their association. They have to take a little mini course or something, and then they're allowed to authorize. Not every doctor here is allowed to authorize. See, in Ontario, I believe in Ontario, you can go to any doctor and any doctor can authorize.
And BC, it's like that too.
And a nurse practitioner, if you don't have, if there's a shortage of family doctors. which I'm gonna, I'll be doing because.
But but the thing of it is, in Canada, you can have an authorizing doctor sign anywhere across the country. Because my first signing doctor was in Ontario, right? And our signing doctors, most of the signing doctors on any of these apps and stuff like Namaste or anything that are free, if you sign up through a licensed producer, are all nurse practitioners from Ontario.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes,
right?
Many of the virtual are nurse.
Right.
And you know what? And that was, there was a time when I know here in Alberta you could not get virtual, and even just after legalization, they didn't want the doctors doing the virtual authorizations. But I had some clients that I had an agoraphobia. She couldn't come out of her house. There's people that are bedbound that cannot make that first appointment to the doctor.
Yeah.
So
they wanted, and some of these clinics wanted you to have come back every 3 months and only give you 1 to 3 grams. It was ridiculous. Some of these clinics that started up in Alberta, it was just like, what? 1 to 3 grams. You want blood tests and you want urine samples, and you got to go back every 3 months. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? No, no.
Yeah.
That's
Alberta. Yeah. So I started my own consulting business. It was first medical cannabis concierge services, and now I'm grown. The company's grown a little bit. Picked up a couple of partners. We're now medical cannabis health services. So, and what I do is stuff like this. I do some public speaking, some education. My niche is seniors. I love working with seniors. Love it. They get it.
There you go. I put your website up.
Thank you. Yeah. So they get it. The seniors get it. I have had some clients, for instance, that, even with something like arthritis, 50 years on medications, cannot take any more pharmaceuticals because the kidneys were bleeding. I have one client that's been on cannabis therapy now. He's entering his 5th year. He's in his 80s. He walks 1.5 miles a day. His friends are phoning me up and saying, Irene, I want to be like Johnny Boy. I want to be like him. I want to be like him. I want to get this energy. So, it's really rewarding, and it warms my heart. It just warms my heart to see these, these seniors. For so long, they were, told that this is something bad for you, but it's a natural. There's no side effects. They can get rid of so many of their medications.
Oh yeah.
So I love helping with them with that. And then because of my arthritis, I wanted a topical. So I started out with, of course, RSO and cannabis oil, put it on my hands, and it helped, but I hated the greasiness. So again, me being me, I needed to know, how do you make a topical? How do you make cream? I don't want to just mix RSO and coconut oil. So again, took some courses, took some online courses, took some cream making courses. Then I wanted to know more about it. So then I took some cosmetic chemistry and formulating and raw materials courses, got into the chemistry of it, and came up with my topical Cool and Calm.
Which would be scientifically created through your...
I created it at home, but I have, I was in collaborations with Keystone Labs out here, helped her with some home testing kits, and we've been collaborating on a few things.
Good.
And anyways, yes, so I did a stability test, and I did a cannabinoid test on it. So yes, so I went through all the lab testing and everything, and this cream is stable. And now we are just going to be releasing it commercially. We've done a business-to-business collaboration with Alberta Bud. Okay. So under their banner, we are releasing it in Saskatchewan first, Ontario, and then Alberta, and then BC, hopefully BC. So I'm really, really proud of this cream and really stoked to see it. 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, wow. 6 years. And now it's finally going commercial. And the reason why is because when I first started making it and everything, I was selling it out of my kitchen.
Yeah. That's, we all go through those stages, I think, of learning, because I did too. I learned how to make those creams and the lotions and all that, and giving it away to people. Just
Yep.
here, and try it. Let me know how it works. And
And that's exactly what happened. And then people started saying, well, I want more, I want to keep going more. And I thought, oh my God, because
then it becomes an expense, and you want.
And then there's the legalities and everything else involved, right? So I thought,
exactly.
Okay, you know what, Irene, bite the bullet.
Well, Tamara, you had to deal with that. You tried to help a patient one time, and now you got a criminal record, right? So.
And that's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
That's wrong on so many levels.
So your lotion is going to go to Saskatchewan, Ontario, and then hopefully some other places. Now, as far as you have to put it through another company, or does it have your name on it, or does it have another name on it?
We have it is our name, like Cool and Calm, but it's the producer is Alberta Bud. They have the license. Yeah. So we're in collaborations with them for this. Okay. And then we've got some other products in the works.
We have the town where I used to live until I moved to my new location here. They opted out of retail cannabis sales, and there's a lot of people in the community who could benefit from it. And actually tomorrow evening there's an all candidates meeting, and Tamara, our past guest, Adam Doda, is going to the meeting, and he's going to ask questions. So hopefully they can get that. But I've gone to some of the other towns, local towns, and like I said, one of the stores had a section that said wellness in them, wellness on it, right?
Yeah, and it's health and wellness.
Obviously that's someplace where your product would go, but it just can't. They say all cannabis use is medical, but yet they try to say that these stores are just recreational stores. But facial creams and things like that, suppositories, I don't know too many people use them recreationally, but I like the fact that the products are available for the patients to get access to.
But in the stores, they're not allowed to tell you what their medical use is for.
That's right. They're not. Yeah. But what you can do. That's right. So what you can do, and what we are doing is, because the nice thing about this cream is it's whole plant medicine. I'm not isolates. I'm about whole plant.
Nice.
You need the whole plant for the entourage effect, and I have also some essential oils in my cream. Again, it's an essential oil. It's a natural oil, because and that's why the cream works. It's because they're whole plants. They've got all the terpenes to allow for that synergistic effect.
Yeah. You could take that wagon down the road with a broken wheel, but it doesn't mean it's going to work as good. And
that's
cannabis is the same way. You get it all in there, keep it all together.
That's right. Yeah. So, and because I was, worked extensively with RSO, that's what I started out with. Right.
Right.
So, and that's whole plant. So, yeah.
You mentioned, you get the lotions, you're making these oils, or is there anything else that you've got available that you've got it on the go that's, in the front burner that,
we do have something on the back burner that I can't reveal yet, but what I can reveal about it is it's for women's health and wellness.
Good.
Good. So it will be addressing things like endometriosis, menopause, PMS, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So and again, that's something that's been in the works for a little while now, and we're just doing the focus group testing and stuff, and then from there we will do the stability testing, and then the business.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's great. It's so much easier now, I find, for patients to get access to some products and services versus what they did 10 years ago. And it's people like yourself that who start out as patients, and just want to help others. And you end up, because you help so many people, you end up creating a company in order to be able to help people all across the country. And it's great.
Well,
that,
and let's
plant
face
does
it.
that.
That's right. And let's face it, in this industry, it is a new industry.
Yeah.
The products on the shelves in most of the dispensaries are products that are born out of a need.
Yeah.
That's where they all started from.
Yeah.
I think if the government would have rolled legalization out a little bit differently, I think if we would have had medical dispensaries, it'd be a whole different ball game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because
Totally.
in the beginning, the pharmaceutical companies are like, didn't want to be dispensing, or the pharmacists didn't want to be
But
dispensing the cannabis.
everything that they're rolling out in the wellness section, we already have. We have
Exactly.
topicals and suppositories and Yanni
Yeah.
Care and all kinds of different products that, because it's on the black market and some of the people that produced it couldn't get their product into the legal markets, everything that you've mentioned, I know somebody that's already doing it, right?
Exactly.
Because she's and has been doing it for 20 years, right?
That's right.
Right? And couldn't get herself into the market because of
That's right.
whatever reason. But again, like I said, but they need
Well,
to
I'll
have
tell you the reason why they couldn't get into the market, Tamara.
Oh, that's not it.
So
That
much.
wasn't it.
Okay.
No, I know that too, but that wasn't all the reasons either. I think
Like-
there was other reasons, but
Like
regardless,
Irene,
right?
Yeah, like Irene, you're in the middle now of getting your product to the market, to the legal market, and
Right.
you've experienced what it actually takes to do that.
It's
And
lots.
you're coming from the really you're coming from the the legacy end, as some people call it.
That's right.
And now you're coming out in the legal market with your product, and it's not something that's done overnight.
No, that's right. And it's funny because I've really developed my entrepreneurial skills, I'll tell you.
I bet you have.
You have to, you have to in this industry, especially if you don't, when legalization first came and all of these big licensed producers and all this big money that was poured into these companies without any thought, without any, it's the green rush. We're going to make all this money from this green rush. And I mean, legacy people knew.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that with quality and control? How are you going to do that? And now it shows that, where's the quality coming from? It's from the micros.
From the micros. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you have to grow with intention.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to always tell people would ask me, what's the difference between medical cannabis and recreational cannabis? And I would say one's grown for love and the other one is grown for the money. And
that's right.
There's cash croppers and there's people that grow it because they actually love it. And that's a difference.
That's right.
And that's the end of that's what it all was.
That's right.
Right.
And the plant is going to reward you if you're growing with intent, with pure intent. That plant will reward you.
Yeah, it sure will. There's no doubt about that. It's improved so many people's lives, young and old. It doesn't, it helps that newborn, and it helps those people who are getting later on in life. And if we can help extend that, improve the quality of life with cannabis, then why not?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's nice because I get a chance to myth bust, to bust those myths, which is really nice. One of the biggest myths out there, especially because I still consume recreationally, but my main focus is medical.
It's medicinal. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here.
So
go ahead.
So the first thing that I tell seniors is the biggest myth out there for medicinal cannabis is CBD is medicinal, THC is recreational.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
one of the
that's not
biggest
right.
myths out there. No, absolutely, it's not. You know, I mean, I have 85-year-olds taking THC and they're not impaired. So stop that. You know, just stop that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what? I
yeah.
had to say that to my mother once. It was like she thought that you know, you were just out of your mind if you smoked weed. So I smoked a joint. She showed up, and I looked right at her. I said, "I'm stoned. Can you tell?" She just kind of looked at me. The only thing that gave it away was the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
My mother was all against it until she saw the difference it made in my life. One of those differences is the fact that I've never had an opiate prescription other than when I was hospitalized for my Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
So, but it's the top of the hour. Time for another break. When we come back, I want to talk about the services that your company offers.
Okay, great.
All right. All righty. Let's see. Off to break we go. Time to pay those bills. When we return, Tamara and I will continue our discussion with Irene Donohue.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Hi folks, Scott from stfattiesday.com here, and we're absolutely stoked to tell you about our brand new program called Pass the Peace Pipe and our partnership with Legacy 420 out of Tyndonega. We are absolutely proud to be partners with these people. They are an amazing group that have helped so many people with their amazing cannabis medicinal products. And we are working together to gather funds to build the first ever Indigenous specific opioid addiction center here in the Bay of Quinte area on Tyndonega land. So we need your help. We need you to repost this video and go to our GoFundMe campaign, because on this October 17th, St. Fatty's Day, we are going to be starting the campaign where we pass the peace pipe from one side of the country to another to unite our country, to gather awareness, but most importantly funds to build opioid addiction centers across the nation, one build at a time.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
Growing your own cannabis is easier than you think. Whether you're growing for recreational or medical purposes, BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. From the standard 4-plant recreational systems to the latest cutting-edge hydroponic equipment, BMA can customize your package and do it at discount prices. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and ask us for a free estimate. Or call 613-967-9888 and we will give you an estimate over the phone. The only way to go.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Hey, we're back, and thanks for tuning in the program. And we've got cookies. Come on, where's the cookies? cookies. There they are.
See, like we have to give these cookies away. Like, come on, somebody say
Well,
cookies.
you know, there used
All
to
you gotta
be
do.
there was a sticker that you could put on your fridge or whatever, and it said, "Welcome to the dark side. We have cookies."
We have cookies. I know, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, those are entries from the 3rd annual Mum Cup that was out at the coast on the weekend, and Harvest Fest was also a success. Deb said that was a great.
Good.
They had a
Good.
good time for that
Good.
one too. So this weekend's
But the-
coming up, Karma Cup. No, aren't you going to
Yeah,
Karma Cup
that's
this
right.
year?
Yeah, this week.
Yes, we see how
Yep.
somebody saying we have somebody watching us. So comment cookies, and you could win this cookie.
Cookies,
Or this
comment
cookie.
cookies, you get cookies. Yeah.
All you gotta do is comment
Well,
cookies.
Not only do we have cookies, but we also got Irene Donohue of the Medical Cannabis Health Services here with us. And we've been talking here about a whole range of things. So right now I want to put a bit of a highlight on your services because patients out there are always looking for services and things like that. And, you know, years ago there wasn't services.
That's right.
And I'm sure when you got started in all this, there wasn't any services, and now you've created a company to do that.
That's right, exactly. And that, you know, with legalization, I was really passionate about. I knew how hard it was for me to navigate the system, and how hard it was to get not only my authorization, but like you said, information, just getting information. So so that's one of the reasons why I started this company, was to help patients navigate the system, get their authorization. And once they had their authorization, then what? You know, especially for seniors and so on, you know, and I mean, how many times have you heard, oh my God, the first time I tried cannabis, I tried this much and I greened out and I'm just not doing it anymore for any reason. You know, so I think that was happening with some folks and needn't be, right? So if you're going to consume medically, do it correctly. And that's where I'm able to guide patients, you know, with consumption methods and dosing strategies for them, along with navigating how to get their authorization. And once they get their authorizations, there's not a lot of doctors. There are some out there, but there's not a lot of doctors that will follow them through their journey. So so that's where I come in.
They give them their license, and then, you know, because there are a lot of people well, you know, the people who do use those online services about, you know, the virtual signings and stuff like that. You know, how many of them do actually follow up in, you know, 2 months or a month to see how the patient
I'm gonna have to be have to be right back. It sounds like I got a dog fight. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, you go ahead dealing with the dog fight. Because
so that was part of it too, right? You know, I wanted to because as I was helping people, they would have problems, you know, and when to titrate up, when not to, what's working, what's not working.
What's too strong of a dose?
Exactly. Yeah. Follow them till they hit their sweet spot and then let them fly. You know, usually by the time they hit their sweet spot, they're pretty acclimated and they're pretty confident. You know, so I do. I follow each of my clients until they're confident in their consumption and their dosing. And then, you know, if that changes, a lot of times I'll get phone calls for that too. You know, I need to change things up. How can I change them up? You know, so besides the dosing and the consumption strategies, there's breakthrough, there's when is inhalation appropriate, when is, you know, and how to stack, when stacking appropriate. Right. You know, so that kind of stuff. So that, you know, so that with the education part, with the individual clients, I do that. And again, it ranges anywhere from patients come to me with anything from anxiety to stage 4 cancers. Stage 4 cancers are really tough for me. I have helped a few people, but the losses are, I get really attached.
Yeah. You know, I know some people family, my mom, I taught her, she was against cannabis. Like I said, how it helped me. So like I talked to her about using an oil in order to deal with her cancer. And she said to me, "Will it cure me?" And I just said, I can't guarantee that it's gonna cure you. But I said it's up to you to decide on whether you want to use it or not. And she made a decision.
Yeah. My very first client had stage 4 liver, pancreas. I mean, he was riddled with cancer, and the doctors gave him a couple of months to live. So we started on the protocol, and he lived to almost a year. And he's actually asked me to spread the word, so I will. His name was Billy.
So
we really bonded.
You extended his life, extended the quality of his life and the time of his life.
Bingo. And that was, you know what, that was a big thing, Al, because when he was in the hospital, he was in palliative, and it was the last couple of weeks. And I went in to visit him, and I was bawling, and I was saying, "I'm so sorry, Billy. I mean, I don't know. I think I've done something wrong here. Like, I'm so sorry." And he goes, "Irene," he says, "my earthly guardian angel," he says, "don't be sorry." He says, "because you have given me 9 months of quality life." You know, he was still going out for walks. He was still visiting friends. He was still doing everything that he normally would do up until the last couple of weeks, you know, of his life. So that Billy's words kept me going. He says, "You gave me the best quality of life, Irene. You help others." Yeah. So that's what kept me going. So bless you, Billy.
Exactly.
We all have those patients. We all have those clients.
By him saying, tell people about me and stuff like that, sharing people's stories or experiences and all that, it helps others to learn. And that's why we've always, like we talked about your medical use in the beginning. It helps others learn. They hear your story and they think, wow, geez, maybe that's going to help me as well. So I'll try that.
And before the science, it was the anecdotal outcomes that pushed science, forced science to pay attention to this plant.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. I was Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
I was privileged enough to work with a professor at the university here in Alberta in the chemistry department on one of the strains that I was growing. And he actually did a presentation paper on it, which I'm co-author of, which is really cool. But to see this in the chemistry lab and what they were doing with it, anybody that loves cannabis, they would have loved to have been in that lab there with me. I got to tell you, there was over 1,000 components to this plant. It was, and one of the terps, or flavonoids, surprisingly, cinnamon. Cinnamon blew me away. Yeah, blew me away. But yeah, that was really cool.
Nice.
That was
nice.
A really
because
neat
you're right
experience.
in there. Like you said, like you're a person who wanted to learn more and more and more. So why not get into the science behind the cannabis plant itself and yeah. Sure.
Well, and what helps with that, Al? So that's actually helped the things like that, and working with Keystone Labs. It's helped validate me as an educator also.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
What I'm trying to get at here is your services again. As you were saying, there's stuff there that you help with the dosing, you help with the patients and stuff like that.
I also do
what else
public
you mentioned? Correct, public speaking. So you go to different events, things like that, like shows or whatever to talk.
Yep, and also different business entities. I've spoken in the chamber of commerce space, business spaces, business to business spaces.
They'll have a question for sure.
Yes, and United Way. I was part of a panel on the opioid crisis, actually, and that was an eye opener. That was really interesting. Really blessed to be in that. Yes, and I also do education sessions in seniors' homes.
Nice.
So educating the seniors. Yes, and then I also work with a senior home as a policy advisor, and it's mainly on not just the residents' rights when it comes to cannabis, but also for the staff what to look for when one of their residents is on cannabis therapy. So what are some of the things to watch for? You know, when you're dealing with seniors, you do want to titrate up very slowly. You titrate up too fast, they become fall risks, right? So it's special. Yeah, it's a special little niche in there.
Start low, start super low.
Absolutely. And I also, you know, with the consulting with patients, I also help dosing strategies for many ailments, plus weaning off some medications. And that's where I collaborate with the doctors, with the physicians, so that I make sure that if I'm part of somebody's care team, I want to also talk with their physicians. I want to talk with all of their care team. You know, I'm just one aspect of it, and you need all of it. You know, too many times in this day and age, we're fragmented. You know, for any treatments, for anything like that, it's fragmentations. So I like to bring it all together. And then we are also, well, it only makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so the next service here we've got is medicinal cannabis product development and joint venture partners.
Yes.
Obviously, we were talking about your lotions and stuff there earlier.
Yes. So we do have some products down the pipe that we are looking to bring to market, and we are open to joint ventures and business-to-business partnerships. And that's through the licensed producers, you know, mainly through licensed producers and other businesses if they like.
Yeah. There you go. There's the bottom one. Body product for medical use. Yes. Good to see you. You got in there the medical use part, because there's so many times that the medical use part is forgotten, and it's all about the recreational end of things. So.
Yes. And doesn't that, you know, as medical patients, doesn't that piss you guys off?
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Well, you gotta look. You know, cannabis has been legal medically for over 20 years, and there's what, one, maybe two medical stores in Canada, and that's Hybrid Pharma in Ottawa. And yet we have thousands and thousands of recreational stores across the country in a matter of a couple of years. Like
that's right.
It's not,
because of legalization,
right
the cannabis patient numbers have leveled out. Because remember when there was only 4,000 of us out, and then it was like 10,000 in a year, right? And it just exploded, and then they had to listen because there was more and more and more of us. And since legalization, doctors aren't signing, so the numbers have kind of leveled off for medical, right? Unless you want to grow your own.
Now people can just go to the store and get the product instead of going.
And to be
fair,
but
that doesn't give them the healthcare watch and stuff like that. If they're just going to the store, and you know the government's got a survey that say 53% of the people who go to a store do so for medical purposes, but they're not getting the
only solace with the stores, you know, everything in there's tested, right? You know, it's got to be, you know, it's tested. That's the only solace that medical patients can have, is it is tested, so you know it's safe, right? Now, whether it's the dose you should have or the level of THC or CBD that you need, you can't ask that, right? And you can't say, well, will this strain help my MS, or will this strain help my cancer? They can't say anything. Yet they've got products sitting there. They got tinctures and capsules and suppositories sitting in the legal stores right now. They can't tell them what they're for.
So what we've done, that's right, Tamara. So what we've done is with our cream, and it's cool and calm, Alberta Bud. But what we've done is
Yeah.
you can do a pop-up with it. Now you cannot say that this cream is for pain, that this cream will help your pain, blah, blah, blah. But what you can do is the ingredients in there. So some of the terpenes. So this terpene is an analgesic. It is known to combat pain. This terpene, this ingredient is known for this reason. So it's a subliminal way of getting the message out.
Right.
You know,
right,
without, I mean, it's
right.
truth. It's all truth and stuff. Do you know
Yeah,
that?
it is.
Yeah. Do you know that
Oh,
even with topicals and products, you cannot, depending on who's looking at it, you cannot put the benefits in the name. So like the Cool and Calm, it cannot be called pain relief or pain management.
Yeah.
You know, which is ridiculous.
Even if it didn't have cannabis in it, it's the beauty in chemistry. It's that part of Health Canada. Trying to get any product of any beauty or any cosmetic of any kind, be it shampoo or anything, soaps, at a commercial level, it's ridiculous. The regulations are ridiculous.
That's right. And depending on the regulator, now some creams can get away with the word pain on their product, right? Because pain's just a word.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it depends on.
But it can't be used with cannabis and pain, because cannabis hasn't been. But if it's just arnica, or like A535, right? They can put pain on it because of the menthol and stuff, because menthol has been proven in a lab that it actually calms down your pain, right? So it's just in the wording, but it's also in the lab testing, and then where and who's made it, right? And how many bucks have gone behind it. And that's for any beauty product, like any of them. It doesn't matter. It's like I said, it's ridiculous. I've seen the regulations.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when, like, Health Canada right now is talking about CBD.
Yeah.
Right. And taking it out of the dispensaries. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens then. Because again, that is one of the other things that I educate on.
Yeah, that's the cannabis health products, the CHPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time they were talking about that. And so they could be available at, CBD products could be available at the pharmacy, or could be available at, at
health food stores.
Just walk up and buy, right?
Well,
yeah, because they're thinking of making. They're talking about putting them as a natural health product. So then they would have to follow the natural health product rules, right? But again, so yeah, and so what I'm kind of worried about what'll happen then is CBD is CBD. Absolutely, no doubt about it. It's a chemical compound. You can't change it.
Right.
But CBD hemp products are not going to be as efficient as CBD cannabis products. And it's because of the amount of terpenes and everything else in there, right? So, like, for instance, they're going to be selling hemp seed oil products as CBD products.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Hemp seed oil, you can go to the health food store and buy a big jar for $12. Wonderful wellness. The omega ratios in hemp, omega-6 to omega-9 ratios, excellent. Extremely healthy, better than krill oil. Excellent for wellness, not medicine. And some people argue with me, but I'm adamant about that.
No, I've been, that there was a company that was running around selling hemp CBD as wellness. I can't remember the name of it. It was like an MLM, and it was out of the States. Everybody was running around. Oh, I'm selling this CBD product. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Hemptifiers. Not it either, but it was an MLM, and they went up rather quickly. But like it's ridiculous. No, but that's what I mean. Like, so people got like they're almost like a bad taste in their mouth because some of them bought it and it didn't work. And now when they think about CBD, they go, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
what is it, hemp oil, right? So to be fair,
Yeah.
like a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth when you say a CBD isolate. They're going, what? CBD isolate's actually a white powder. It's not an oil. It's a white powder, right?
That's right. That's right. So yeah. So and you
I
go ahead,
saw
Al.
a lotion one day in a health food store, and the owner was worried about selling it because it said CBD on it, and she was worried that the cannabis would get her busted, and so she was sort of keeping it quiet. And so I looked at the label, and on the back of the label it said hemp seed oil, and
Yeah.
I'm going like, don't worry.
Yeah.
That's what
You're
they're selling in the
fine.
pet stores. Like seriously, I believe that they're selling that in the pet stores. So they're selling the CBD oil in pet stores for people for their pets, and it's not CBD, right? It's hemp oil.
Hemp
Well,
oil.
especially hemp seed oil. How much CBD
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
think is it?
exactly.
Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, to be fair, like in reality, how much CBD is really in a cannabis plant? It's not a really high level unless you're like some of the
Depends
strains
on
now that you can get, depending on the strain. But some
right.
of them like are running pretty low on the CBD
Oh
levels too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you got
Well,
so
I
again,
grow a strain that's 14% CBD and 8% THC. And you know what?
exactly.
You don't find a lot higher than that.
No, you don't. And there's still THC within that plant. It's not straight 100% CBD,
Yeah.
right? You
Full
cannot
plant
breathe this,
medicine, baby.
right? You can't breathe complete out of complete. Like you don't want to. Like even with the 1-to-1s, everybody's saying, oh, 1-to-1 for even epilepsy with CBD. Like I know friends of mine that took the CBD right away from their kids with their oil for the regime for epilepsy. There was no more CBD. It was making it worse. So
Once
yeah.
because it was just straight CBD or very low THC instead of having some
Right, and it was
better
doing
ratio.
nothing. Yep, it was nothing. It was doing nothing. Like sometimes they were putting 1,000 milligrams of THC a day
Oh wow.
just to stop the
Wow.
seizures, right?
Well, you know,
Wow.
that's when with legalization, I was part of the round table talks and everything. And, you know, you got to hear from people from all over. And this one kid had started a clinic down in BC somewhere. And, you know, we were talking about seniors. But even with CBD, there is a caution, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it is a
so he
controlled
was
substance.
stating, well, it's not that. It's people think a lot of times because it's non-psychoactive, you can take as much of it as you want, you know, as much CBD, and that's just not the case. So this kid was telling me that, oh yeah, the seniors, he deals with seniors, and he starts them out with 1,000 milligrams of CBD a day. I went, oh, I went, oh, and are they on other medications? And he goes, well, yeah, but it's CBD. I went, oh my God, you do know about CBD and the liver metabolization and stuff, right? And he just kind of looked at me like I had a third eye, right? And it's like, okay, you need to do some research because you're you know, you're actually going to cause detrimental effects to your clients.
Oh, that's not good.
You know, so there is contraindications. You know, there is contraindications with CBD and other medications. You have to be careful of some medications. Some medications you have to cap CBD at certain doses per day for that reason.
And you know, there's a lot of people who don't even realize that, you know.
Absolutely. And why would they? Why would they? Because there's no other information out there.
Well, there's no information out there on that. Like, you know, I'm gonna call it a biological drug. I get it done through an IV. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, we checked, and you know, the doctor said that everything was fine. So you know, I never ever worried about it, and I haven't had any side effects to having the cannabis and that drug. But yeah, even you know, he questions and makes sure that there's nothing that's going to affect it in any negative way as far as that
That's
treatment.
right. Yeah. And you know, one of the other things that I caution people with is if you're taking supplements, You know, make sure you know about your supplements. Make sure you know what the supplements do and stuff. For instance, if somebody's taking, let's say there's a cancer patient, they're doing RSO treatment and you know, and they're taking all these supplements and stuff, and turmeric is one of their supplements. Well, you don't take turmeric and cannabis at the same time. And not that there's a contraindication that they will wreck each other, but it's because they both attach to the same receptor. So one cancels the other one out. So you have to have that 2-hour window. You know, so it's little nuances like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it can make or break a person's treatment plan. You know, their therapy. You know, it can make or break the effectiveness of that therapy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something to consider, you know, and it's, you know, it's funny you were talking topicals there, Ellen, and I had called a doctor's office, you know, asking them about the topicals and everything, and their cannabis educator, and they dealt mainly with seniors. Their cannabis educator stated, "Oh no, we only give topicals with CBD because we don't want them to get high." Like, what? What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You do know that it doesn't penetrate the blood. It doesn't get into the blood, you know, the blood system. So what are you talking about? And you're in a doctor's office. Like, what are you guys doing? You know, and where did, and then I asked, where did you get your education from?
And I'm sure Tamara will agree that over the years, you know, a lot of times it's the patients that have been teaching the doctors.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, you know, then that's the thing. There's been so many, you know, years of having to, like I said, I had to battle to get a doctor to sign me in Alberta. I flew to Ottawa and protested on Parliament Hill, and then drove to Cohill. And I protested in Lethbridge about going to fucking having to go to Ottawa to get my fucking medical license done. Kind of threw my doctor under the bus, right?
Yeah.
But he refused to sign my license.
On so many levels. So many levels.
And it was the College and Physicians too. And I fought with it. I battled with the Alberta College and Physicians. And I battled with the fucking doctors. And I battled with Alberta Health Services. And Lisa Kirkman battled with Alberta Health Services. She actually was able to use her volcano in the Medicine Hat Hospital.
Yeah, I remember her battle with them. Yeah.
Right. So we battled Alberta Health Services, like ridiculous, stupid shit, because we were the patients, and we were the very first ones in Alberta that actually stood up and said, and Keith Fagan too, who just passed away not too long ago either, Calgary 420, right?
Yeah.
So and Debbie and like Kelly Christie, like we were the ones that were like battling right from the very and we were all patients.
Yeah.
All of us. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where it starts and ends with the patients, right? And just one more thing. Why are patients taxed on their medicine?
Yeah, exactly.
That
excise,
makes me mad.
So we always have been, honey. This isn't something new. We always have been.
That's got to change, though. That has to change.
And why isn't insurance covering it for everybody?
They are. You know what? Lots of insurance companies are now. There are more and more insurance companies on board. Yeah. And actually, I'm actually starting. I would like to go. I would like to take on senior coverage.
I think they should get some too, but you know what? Yeah. But here's what the conservative government did. Just a quick little thing. Why we got down to this regulated of, you know, only paying for 3 to 5 grams because of the soldiers, right? So the soldiers are getting paid like for their medical cannabis, like right outright. And then they did this cost efficient, you know, study, and they realized that they were paying so much money for equipment and all this stuff. That's why they cut down the prescription levels to between 1 and 5 grams maximum, because the government was paying and they didn't want to have to pay the soldiers any more than 5 grams a day. So that's why our prescriptions all got, and everybody was looking at the, you know, and it was always, again, back down to money.
Yep.
Right.
That's my last words for the night.
All right. Okay. Shout out time. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we get to the shout out, Irene?
The only thing that I want to say to people is if you are going to consume medically, get the authorization. I know you might not agree with it, Tamara, but get the authorization for a few reasons. First, your insurance company might cover it. Second, it's going to give us more money for research that we desperately need. Third, it's going to validate, and the more people that are patients that sign up as patients, Ottawa has to take note. They have to take note.
Yeah. Good points. Exactly. They do. Because
It's not that I don't want to be a patient anymore. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I can't grow anymore. So because I have my power issue in my house. So that's the only reason. Because that's it.
Yeah. but if you buy, then even if you don't grow, Tamara, if you have your authorization and buy from a licensed producer, that's taxable. All your money that you pay for your cannabis is taxable.
I did that for 2 years. This is I think only the second year I haven't had a license. I had my whatever. And the thing was my maximum before was 20 grams, right? With my MMAR when my doctor signed for my grow before, and they would only sign me for 15 maximum because of the affordability. I'm like, don't worry about what I can afford. So the maximum they would give me was 15 grams a day.
And then your doctor just said go to the store.
And they wouldn't give me a grow license, right? This wasn't for a grow. This was just for to buy from the licensed producer. And I wanted to grow, and I wasn't paying $850 for
it. For what, a license to grow?
They wanted $850 for a license to grow. This one place that I went through. Yep. It was free if I signed up to a licensed producer. But if it wasn't, but I believe that the clinic that we run through in Belleville is not that expensive. It's not. But this was through, I think it was Cannabis 420 or something. So it was free if you sign up through a licensed producer. But if you wanted a grow license, it was $850.
Wow. Because I got that stopped actually at some of the clinics in Calgary because they were charging people to fill out the ACM PR papers, and they weren't allowed to. So once I said that to them, that now what they can do legally is offer to fill out the forms for you with a fee. That's an offer as an added service. But if a person insists, no, you give me the form, I want my authorization for ACMPR, they have to hand that over to you. They cannot charge you for that.
After it's signed?
Federal regulation. Yep, that's federal regulation. Yep.
Yeah, because you need your original copy to send to Health Canada with your doctor's signature on.
Yeah, clinics are not allowed to, they're not allowed to charge you to fill out that piece of paper.
Well, I know that. But again, if they don't give it to you without charging you for it, right?
That's right, yeah.
Like a doctor's not supposed to charge you for prescription.
That's right.
But they can charge you for an extra physical for a driver's license.
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Shout out time. Person, place, the thing, website. Where can people find you, Irene?
They can find us at medicalcannabishealthservices.com, our website. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also the email is medicalcannabishealthservices@gmail.com. Give us a call, give us a shout, check us out. We'd love to talk to you.
All right. Sounds good. Perfect. Tamara, you got anything you want to say?
Cookies. Nobody's commented cookies.
Cookies. We got cookies. Welcome to the dark side. Okay. Oh, well, hey, we'll get
I'm just trying to get shit away, man. That's it.
Okay. Just a reminder, we'll be back next week with more cookies and our special guest. You can find Pace Radio Show. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on the web, paceradio.net. Thank you to our sponsors, as always, BMA Hydroponics, Legacy420.com, drbuckcts.com, the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Big thank you goes to our guest and business owner, Irene Donohue of Medical Cannabis Health Services. It was great having you on. We'll have to have you come back in a future broadcast for an update on things.
Thanks very much, you guys. Really enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. That's great.
Absolutely. And shout out to Carrie.
Where's Gail? Hi, Gail.
Gail's watching TV right now.
Hi, Gail.
Just taking up some of my bandwidth here. All right, and thanks to our listeners for tuning into the program. Other than that, we will see you all next week.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.